Welcome back to Flo's Sports Fix on this Tuesday. It's time to have a look at the EPL, so we reach out to our World Game guru, Ellis Gelios. G'day, Ellis. How are you today?
Hey, Clayton. Yeah, look, I'm excited to be talking about domestic football again because I'm not much of a fan of the international breaks, as you know from our past conversations. So considering that we're back talking about the football that matters is always a good thing for me.
It's always good. Now, I did notice there was some movements overnight with a Man City player.
Correct, yeah. Sergio Aguero, who's really become a legend as of the last decade and really since Manchester City went on to become a traditional top four finisher in the league and a serial trophy winner as well under various managers. I think Sergio Aguero is really probably the most iconic player since Manchester City were bought by their new Qatari owners in 2008. And the 32-year-old Argentinian who came from Atletico Madrid has just been in brilliant form season in, season out, always contributing on the goal-scoring front. And I actually thought he was older than he is because he's been around so long, but he's only 32 still. Look, the media release that we have is just basically telling us that he will leave and that Manchester City will look in a new direction, and we can speculate all day and all night about who they'll look to replace him with. But in terms of where he'll go, he has said in the past that he wants to return to his first club in Argentina, which is Independiente. He had a very good time there, scoring 23 goals in 54 games, so nearly a goal-a-game ratio there. It looks like that may well be a possibility, but nothing more has been said on where he may end up next season.
All right, I'm sure we'll be finding out, and you'll let us know as soon as you hear as well. You must be happy with your beloved Adelaide Reds. They've 5 wins on the trot now, and they're looking in a pretty good spot at the second, holding second down on the A-League ladder at the moment.
6 wins in a row, Clayton.
Was it 6?
And,
okay.
For being Sydney FC, this was the one fixture that everyone was saying, well, you know, they've been a struggling Melbourne Victory. They've smashed the Newcastle Jets side that doesn't have an owner, but can they really do it against the big clubs? And we hadn't beaten Sydney FC in a very long period of time, since 2016 in the A-League, and not in Adelaide since 2014. So this was really the test. This was the ultimate stress test, and Adelaide prevailing against the reigning champions is a huge vote of confidence. They did get probably quite fortunate in the penalty that was awarded to Cassini Yengi, who, for a big fella, I've got to admit, did go down quite easily in a tangle in the box. But that's not really important at the end of the day. Clayton, Adelaide United, really providing the goods to come up with a win against Sydney. But the only thing that concerns me is that when you look at the history books, the last time Adelaide United won 6 games in a row was all the way back in the first season of the A-League. And would you believe it was then at that point that they managed not to win another game for the remainder of the season and ended up kind of bombing out. And it was a very similar landscape back then because you only had sort of 2 clubs as the front runners, which seems to be the case again this season. Some 17 odd years later. So, it's a little bit concerning when you look at the history books and that sort of jumps out at you. But Adelaide United fans, for those that are not superstitious anyway, have plenty to be excited about right now.
Yeah, well, you've just made me start worrying now because I looked ahead to this week and I was trying to gee you up to think that we could get 7 in a row, and now you're making me think it's not going to happen. So thanks for that. You've really built me up and given me all the confidence I needed.
I'm a superstitious man and a Liverpool fan, Clayton. So and you've got to appreciate that because I've always put myself in a position with the clubs that I support to trust that they're going to get it done. And as you well know, it's the most saddest place to despair when it doesn't end up happening.
Exactly right. Well, anyway, we're hoping that Adelaide United, when they take on top place Central Coast Mariners, have a victory and get their 7th this week. It'll make our Easter very much enjoyable, I feel. But as we have a look at the EPL this weekend, there are some other big matches, including, and you mentioned Liverpool, they've got a big game against Arsenal, and they need to improve because they're sitting in that 7th spot, and they need to go up the ladder if they want to be able to play in Europe again next year.
For sure, and just on Arsenal to begin with, I found it interesting. I saw a stat done by someone on Twitter recently, which was coming out in support of Mikel Arteta, because he's sitting in 9th place at the moment, and really you've got to question all the way back when Arsenal sacked Unai Emery. They then went on to have Freddie Ljungberg come in as a temporary caretaker, and now here they are with another club legend in Mikel Arteta at the helm. But sitting in 9th, you've got to sort of question, has there been sufficient progress since they sacked another Spaniard in Unai Emery some time ago now, back in 2019? Because really he probably finished higher than 9th in his time at the club, and I'd say spent less than Mikel Arteta has spent. But then you've got to probably acknowledge the fact that Mikel Arteta has won 2 major trophies with Arsenal now, and he's cleared out some deadwood, and I think they're on an upwards trajectory. So Liverpool, given their domestic woes through January, they'll be certainly looking at this game as a potential banana peel. And despite their good record at the Emirates, you can't really trust Liverpool any week that they're on in the Premier League. So it'll be a big game. There's no question about that at all. But I think Liverpool may fancy their chances in this one, just considering the fact that there's been a while now for them to regroup under Jurgen Klopp and realign their focuses, as the European Champions League will probably take the priorities out of Premier League contention for Liverpool. But this is a big game and really one that they need to win if there's going to be a realistic chance that they're going to make a comfortable push for the top 4, in my opinion.
It's against Arsenal. We want to win. That's it. End of story. The other big game tonight is Leicester City taking on Man City, and I kind of fancy Leicester City at the moment. Yeah,
I do as well, purely because Manchester City really have this title wrapped up, and Leicester City, if they can get a result here, they're really, 1 foot in the door when it comes to qualifying for the Champions League next season, you would have to say. So this will be a big stress test for Leicester, and considering that Man City will really be looking at the Champions League now and prioritising that competition, I think this is the best opportunity Leicester may get in years to be able to get a result against Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. And obviously Brendan Rodgers doesn't have the greatest record against Pep at all. We'll really be hoping that this is where it can all turn for him.
I just want them to win so they can make things a bit easier for others. But anyway, now Newcastle, we spoke about them a while back, and I said to you I had a feeling that they were going to end up dropping out of the Premier League and dropping down. And they're hanging in by their absolute fingernails. They haven't got an easy task this week against Tottenham, but they just seem to be able to find a way. When you want them to go one direction, Newcastle seems to be going the other.
So spectacular has their collapse been this season that even the most ardent of Newcastle fans are now backing a conspiracy theory that Newcastle as a club are trying to get relegated. Make of that what you will, Clayton, but that is literally the latest news coming out of St James Park. They're convinced that their club literally wants to relegate themselves. So that I believe it has something to do with a prospective owner having to pay less to the club, and therefore Mike Ashley being able to get a sale over the line, because he's struggled to do it for so many years now. Obviously, most famously with this Saudi consortium that have come in, I think, twice in the last season, and it hasn't managed to happen. So, a real spectacular theory, but Newcastle under Steve Bruce, you've just got to wonder why they haven't, gotten rid of him yet. I know there's all this hoo-ha about coronavirus, and it's really changed the complexity of how this season has panned out, but Newcastle are just so bleak to watch. I've never seen a club that was once touted as being one of the big boys, Clayton, actually just playing such a miserable brand of football. It really is quite staggering. And for such a proud club in the northeast, by far the biggest club in a region that stretches so many thousands of kilometres, it's just absolutely baffling to see that they have accepted this significant level of mediocrity in the football that they've played under Steve Bruce. It's never been convincing, but when you're getting results, you've always got a compelling argument to make as a manager, as you know, but when the results are not coming, and they certainly have not been this season for Newcastle, then you've really got to question it. I mean, when you're playing as badly as they have and losing, then that's the worst thing ever. So, and yet Steve Bruce keeps his job, and thus this conspiracy theory has been created that they're actually trying to get themselves relegated. So, look, I'll say one thing at least, given that we've got no title race this season, it's made things interesting in the relegation stakes, because really the only other club that look like they might get into a troublesome period is Brighton and Hove Albion. You think Burnley, with all their impressive results recently, are probably safe now. So it will make for a compelling end to which three clubs go down, and it looks like two of them are already confirmed, or just about anyway, with West Brom and Sheffield at the foot of the table. So will Newcastle live to fight another day in the Premier League, or will they get relegated again, which they're no strangers to doing, of course?
Yeah, I think they're going down. It's just, I said it to you before, and I'm going to stick to it. I think they'll go down. They just seem to be doing that. It's sad because I remember the days when Alan Shearer was up the front there, and any time the ball came near him, it seemed to find its way into the back of the net. And they were the glory days of, only, within... let's 15, 20 years ago. And so it's just sad to see that great club, as you called them, and they are that great club from Tyneside, and to see where they are now, it is very sad. But I can see them going down, unfortunately. Maybe they'll go down, they'll regroup, and they'll come back and be a powerhouse again. Who knows? All right, Ellis, we'll have to leave it there. We'll catch up with you early next week too to find out all the results over the Easter break for the EPL and the A-League, and to see where the teams are sitting. We're getting into that real fun time now, and that stretch home, so I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for being a part of the program today. You have a wonderful Easter. Enjoy all the games, because I dare say you're going to be spending a lot of time in front of the TV this weekend. Yeah, that's right. There's plenty to look forward to, and as always, thanks for having me on, Clayton, and we'll speak soon.